Hi guys. I was going to do the change of today, and you can see I've got a number of 2 penny coins, and going along the premise with the nines, I started off doing this with the coin database. You can do this online yourself. You can even turn it. I've only done up to 1999. But I'm going to go through with those now. So there's 1979, as you can see, and that is a closed 9. Your next one, your next one is 1989, and they're both open. Then you go to the next one, 1990, they're both open. 1991, they're both open. And it's interesting to note the little subtleties between the difference of the nines. I'm wondering, especially when we get up to the latter part of this, you're gonna understand why. There's two nines. There's two distinct nines. The one that I'm hovering over now, the second one, is always more open than that one. That one's only open a tiny bit, and you can do this near enough all the way through. There's 1993. There's something telling me that it's worth keeping a note on these in your change, because I've got a funny feeling there's something not right. And I suppose really in my mind, my inquisitive mind, I'll keep asking myself, why? Why are they doing this? So we come up to 1995, and you start seeing a change again. The 60s, because that's upside down. The nines are now not as long, and they're not as curved. So let's go back to 1994, where they're both really curved. So there's different types of nines. I'm sorry, but talk about making life hard for themselves. Here's your 1996, and if you look at that there, that is basically that. Now, I don't know about you, but if I do this, the 2p right up till 2009. Is it 2009? It's when the first change happened, and I think it's 2008, 2009. I think you've got to be very careful on these ones that look exactly the same. They are both exactly the same. The only difference being that one, if you look at the 9, it's got a funny, like, knuckle. The same as this one, looks bold and long. This one's bold and short. Now, I know this is a bit picky, but I reckon this is where you're going to find something. And if you do find it, I reckon it's going to be quite good. I know my valuations are always, my initial valuations are always dodgy, but still, I'm wondering how many people would actually notice. See, you're only going to know the designer's going to the only person you can ask, have they got a font they use, and how do they implement that font? Because you've got all these different types of 9s, and I'm going to assume it's the same with the 6s. But of course, you've only got, with the 6s, you're limited to 1976, 1986, 1996, 2006. There's 1977, and that really is a funny coin. That is a really funny 9. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it. $1998. What was that? Was that 97? Yeah, I was going to say 1997. 1998 closed, and 1999 are closed. But look at the difference now. Look at the big difference. And we go to the 1996, all closed. Again, I haven't gone on further than this. Oh, it's a bit time consuming. I don't know whether this is logged with the Royal Mint to these changes, and why they would be changes like this. I'll tell you what we will do. I'll go to so that's the last of that. So the next one would be 2009. Let's just try this. The Online Coin Club, this is called. So it might even be worth joining them and going to the forum. Asking them on the forum. So we want 2009 2p now. Oops, 2p. Now this might be Michael Dent. Yes, it's Michael Dent. So this could be very interesting. This is a major change. And there's your 9. Now that looks even more completely different. Now, I'm not going to poo-poo the Coin Club, because I think they've done a very good job. They're using the coins you can see that have been in circulation. They're not using the stock from the Royal Mint. And this 9's got a ball at the end, and it's also got that. Now, I said to you that the 2009, I believe it was the 2009, the 2009 2p was the worst coin ever to have blobs. Trust me, it's true. It was the worst coin for a coin that suffered with blobs of metal. And there you have it. You've got it here. I know this is sort of minimal. But that is true. Now, let's have a look round. You see, they've done away with the beading now. That was the thing. It's the best thing they ever did, was doing away with the beading. So the 2019, I'm assuming again would be different. because it's a change in 2015. So we're going for 2019 now. See what happens. Mint sets only. Now, let's have a look at this one. Now, that looks like a 6. And what we'll do is we go for what's going to be the most prolific 6s? 1966. No, because the 2p wasn't there then. So it'd be 1976. So you're going to be limited to the amount of 6s that you're going to see, to the amount of 9s. But that is, as far as I'm concerned, an upside down six. So I'm going to go 2016. So I'm keeping all these windows open. 2016 2p. Oop, 29. That was 2p. Let's see what that throws up for us. So we're now looking at the 16. And that proves my case completely. That is an upside down 9, or you can have it either way. Whichever way you want to go, you can have it that way. I think somewhere along the line, you're going to come up against one of these being different. But I don't think it's going to be the 6. It's going to be the 9s. Because you obviously haven't got a run of 6s. You know, there is no 666. You know, 1666. There's no. It doesn't. We haven't got any 2p's back then. So I just wanted you to look at that. You could even make your own montage. If you so be it, you could have it as your screensaver. Set that up. It's just something bugging me. There's something really bugging me about this. Why? And this is what I keep asking myself. Why would you go through all of this? I suppose you could say, well, why have different heads, queen's heads? Well, as she's getting older, you know, things would change with her crown or tiara or whatever you want to call it. But what I would really like to know is why 1979 right the way up to 1998 and 1999 are closed. Closed 9s. Why? If you've got, you know, humans are fallible. We're all fallible. I'm not blaming the Royal Mint because they're the Royal Mint. I'm blaming we're all human. And should something go wrong and someone slips in a different die, with a different 9, but set up the wrong way, and I don't mean upside down, I mean like 1999, because as we go back, I want to show you. I've got to keep an eye on my phone because it's going to shut off at 30 minutes. Blooming thing. See, that's a completely different line. A completely different line. I can understand that because it is a change. I'm not so sure about that there. It is a major change coin from 2008. And it would be interesting to see if it runs in other coins. Denominations, you know. But the interesting thing comes here. Now you see, if you jump forward and backwards from the 2006, well, no, it was 2009, wasn't it? You can see that there's a difference. But it's quite odd because they're all different. This one curves over a lot more and these two don't. They're the same. It may be an illusion, I don't know. Maybe you need the coins right in front of your face. But I think this is just as good. And the coins, when we go like this, I mean, look at that. That is a huge difference. A huge difference to what we're seeing. But I think if you're going to find an error and it turns out to be one of these, see, that 9's nearly closed and that 9 is not closed. Do you remember when I first started on this little thing of mine? They always start off to be little things that grow into big things. You'll see there's different 9's. There's different 9's. See, now we've gone back to a long, these are like 6's, but the 6's are always closed. Did I do it? Like that. That's exactly what you're looking at. An upside down 6. There's no defining difference to that and that. So you can scrub these coins out the window because you're not going to find a difference, even if it's upside, whichever way it is. You can't go wrong. So, right, where did we go from? Let's go back to here, 1995. Yeah, you've got to keep an eye on these. This one should always be near closed, and that one should be open. And if you look at that, see, that is a curve. It's a nice flowing curve. This isn't. For that to be closed, to close or closer, it has to be made different. Now see, those two look exactly the same. That one and that one are the same gap apart. Yet that one is still long and upright, and this one is more curved. Now this one, they're both the same. The gaps are relatively both the same. So all I'm thinking is somewhere along the line, if these are being pumped out at a rapid rate of knots, I reckon you could end up with a 6 as a 9 and a 9 as a 6. So there's a good one. That's more closed. See, the more closed one goes up. The one that's curling in, that's open, oops, the one with a bigger gap curls in. But this is uniform. This is uniform. It's really weird. See? That goes up and curved over. That one's got the lot bigger gap, and it's more like a 6. Actual fact, I was just trying to work out what that is. And then we go back to 1990, the same sort of thing. 1998, now with that coming down to singles. Oh, 1989, sorry. They look pretty much the same, as if they're just about to touch. And then we got our 1979 joined. I think somewhere, someone is going to have a lucky coin. It's screaming at me. It's screaming at me. That's what's going to happen. Because I tell you what, now you said, well, I can't remember what year it was now. I think it was 2006. Let's have a look. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. This one. Look at this one. I forgot where we're going to now. Which is back here. Yeah, look at that. There's a swollen piece there, and actually, in fact, they both seem. No, that one's more than the other, so it's round the other way. If you look at those, two 9s on that coin, and this, one of them is exactly the same, and it's that one. It's this one. Do you remember that the penny? Do you remember the penny that I had with the two dates? That one was smaller than the other. Do you remember it? And it was the Elizabeth that I was going by. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That they do have two sets of dice, just in case one gets splashed or whatever. That's what's crossing my mind. That's what's going through my head. So, basically, would they use 6s as 9s in an emergency? Or are these 9s, are they all individually set? I don't know. I've still got those 279 coins, pence, and of course you could do it with the pennies as well. You could try having a look at it that way, or you could just do the run of 1976 through till up to date. Well, up to at least 2006. I tell you what, I have been noticing some of these coins he's got, he's used, that are hard to be desired. You wouldn't see these on the Royal Mint site. And I think that's something else you've got to be aware of. Yeah, it's just there's something in mind. It's screaming at me. It's screaming at me that there's something dodgy. Anyway, this came about with this pile of 2p's, so I will go. No, I'll stop and set this up as a separate video. I'd already done it once and it didn't record. Jeez, wet. Never mind. Trials and tribulations of cameras. So it's always worth. It might even be just a silly thing, like a 9 slips in that's a closed 9 when it should be an open 9. How are we to know, and I'm not sort of blaming this site, but how are we to know that these coins are the ones that were in use? It would be interesting to know, pardon me, on the 1979s if they are exactly the same. And what I mean by that is that you've got that swelling here and not there. Whereas on the other, was it not 1999? Because that was 3, isn't it? It's 3 of them. But I'm sure, I'm sure that those 2 coins I had were different. I really am. The more I look at this, the more I should have looked. If I haven't put them in the church bag, if I've still got them, I shall come back to this because it's very interesting. And I can't see the reasoning for the first one, the 1979, this being closed, and then they, some 20 years later, close them again. Why? I hope that makes sense to you. You would think, at least in my eyes, you would keep the dates uniform. You wouldn't mess about with the dates. I think what the other thing I should do is run through the 6s. I'm going to do that. I'll set up another video and I'll do the 6s, okay? Be in touch soon. Hope you like it.